That might just be me though. I don't know.
Probably.
We counts ourselves. Are we live?
Audio check. I think we're good. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Let us know in the chat if you can hear us and all that stuff that we always say every time.
That outlet is at just the wrong distance from my computer.
I have to help Kyle.
It's just such an inconvenience. Here, wait, I'll unplug this. We can wrap it around that thing. It's just forever pulling my computer off.
We're professionals.
Thank you. Alright. There. That's good enough. Now I have a bit more mobility.
And a fire hazard.
That's fine. Thanks.
Sure. What? Good morning. Hi, Tom. Hello, Cupcake Grind. What's happening? So we're going to try to have a good stream today.
Like always.
Kyle and I are both pretty tired.
Hmm.
As always, again. It's because I was up late producing high quality content for our readers.
I don't want to say why
Whereas
I was up late.
Kyle was ordering circus peanuts
I was ordering
from Amazon.
I canceled that order.
Yeah, that was your first mistake. Actually, second.
Yeah, that
Second.
was my
First
second
was
mistake.
placing the order. Second mistake was canceling the order.
Yeah. Well,
I do know your name, Joe. Cheers.
So we're not fixing anything today.
We might be. We
We
haven't
might be.
we haven't decided what we're doing today. We might be
Okay.
fixing some things, but for now I think we're gonna clean stuff because we have a bunch of cameras that are fully functional that we need to have cleaned, and
is this lens part of this group over here?
yeah, but that's all set,
Okay.
cleaned and ready.
Oh, sorry to clean.
Yeah, all that stuff is good to go. We just need to open that box and do that box that's on the
Oh
ground.
yeah. Do you want to do that now or wait a bit? Do you know what's in there?
No, I don't know what's in there.
Last time it was some like letter to your entire family. I don't know. Last time it wasn't really camera related.
Circus Peanuts the candy? Yeah, he was ordering Circus Peanuts the candy.
2 pounds of it, because it was $11 off Amazon, and I could get it within 2 days.
Yeah.
And then 1 day shipping cost like $25, and I was out.
Right,
I had to cancel
Needs
that
to be
order.
Amazon Prime.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't have
You gotta get
Prime.
Amazon Prime.
I used to. What a foolish.
We would both
thing
be
dropping
eating
that.
Circus Peanuts right now.
Tomorrow. It was tomorrow earliest.
Damn.
Yeah, that's fine though. Should I open this now? I don't.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll
Alright.
see what's in it. So we're just gonna do some work for the camera shop right now, and if we get through that quickly, we're gonna. I have a few things here that are broken that need to be repaired. This is damaged, and this is damaged, and this Epic is damaged as well. So, but like I say, Kyle and I are both a little bit fatigued right now, so we're I don't know if we're gonna fix stuff. We might just do some sort of grunt work, but
This is nice.
it is nice. Yeah, that's
I would keep that.
okay.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Oh, I just put it right in front of the camera. Put a little
Kyle's a big Circus Peanut and Packing Peanut fan.
Same thing, peanuts, really. This is an interesting choice in package security.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of crushed up plastic bags.
I saw a question. Is that a Canon P? No, it's not. This is a Leica M3. Probably a little hard to see. The camera's overexposing a little bit, but yeah, it's a Leica M3. And this is a Nikon Nikonos 3. So you get a lot of 3s happening. This is a regular XA Olympus. Out of my price range. Yeah, these were out of my price range until I started buying and selling cameras, and then they sort of became more of a product rather than personal purchases. So, but yeah, I totally I hear you on that. Like cameras are pretty crazy.
This thing's cool. I've never seen one of these before. It's a
Oh.
Contax G1.
We got a G1 in. Let's look at that.
I like Contax a lot. This is nice. I've never seen that.
Yeah, these are great. This is a G1. If you guys are on the stream, you probably know what these are. It's interesting because it's smaller than a G2 and only just a little bit slower to focus, even though people do tend to make a very big deal out of that. It's not as big a deal as people say. It's still pretty quick to focus. So if you want an autofocus rangefinder but you want a small one, this is a good choice. And it looks like it comes with a 90mm, the well-known 90mm sonar. Cool. Why does Twitch not notify you when you guys are streaming? I think there's an option that you can click.
Yeah, you might have to enable that per.
I think it's over here.
viewer.
This is always confusing. There's a
Let's see it.
look up there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, you're.
I'm pretty sure that's where it is.
Wait. Events, following. Okay, maybe I don't even know where it is.
Oh, I think we just can't see it because we are.
We can't subscribe to
are.
ourselves.
Yeah. Go up there and click there, and there should be like a little drop down, and it should say notifications or something. I can't remember. But either way, you caught us very early, so you didn't miss much. We've only been streaming for about
4 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes right now. So welcome to the stream. We're gonna do a lot of camera stuff today. Kyle's gonna start cleaning things, but before we do that, I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys saw this on the website. Kyle's going to link you to today's article. We had a article today on a Thursday. It's not typically one of our publishing days. We publish articles Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Right now, we're trying to expand that, but it all comes at the cost of money.
Talking about this one, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna link you guys to the post that we published today about a brand new kickstarted camera from Rolleiflex. Well, it's from Rolly, and it's a Rolleiflex instant camera.
Oh, it's a Kickstarter? I didn't know that.
It is, yeah, it's a Kickstarter, and it was fully funded in 2 hours.
Wow.
So they got all of their funding. So if you guys are interested in this camera, good news, it's going to happen. So, but if you guys want to talk about that, I would love to talk to you about it. I have a bunch of information. If you guys have any questions, I can answer them because I talked to the people that made it, and we're gonna go really in depth with it when it comes out. But I may have missed some chat, but that's fine. If you guys asked any questions, just ask it again. You read it and we're super excited. Cool, good to hear that. Are you backing it? I'm curious to know who amongst our readers. It was a very popular article. It was. We published the article. I knew it was going to be popular because anytime we publish anything on a Kickstarter, it does. It is one of our more popular articles, and any new products in the sort of analog photography world do always bring in those numbers. So it's cool, and it was fully funded. Is it full frame medium? No, it's an instant camera. It's an interesting thing. If you guys actually, can you do the search thing? Actually, no, just scroll down.
Oh my god.
There's a link in this article towards the bottom. Go up a little bit and it should say right mid TL70. Click on that and you can send that link too.
All right, 1 sec. What is this that I'm sending?
So we're gonna send a link now again if you want to click on that. So this is the camp. No, Andrew. It uses Fuji Instax film. So this is essentially, we linked again to the Mint TL70. So basically, the new Rolleiflex is co-produced with Mint, but it's a Rolly product. It has the Rolleiflex name. And they say there's improvements as far as the viewfinder brightness looks to be about 10% brighter than the latest Mint. And they also say there are internal improvements. The word that I got directly from a representative was that they worked out some bugs. So,
did you say the final pictures come out brighter than?
No, just the viewfinder is brighter. So
okay. It's easy to actually.
Yeah, see. So it's gonna be essentially the same camera as it's essentially the same camera as the Mint TL70 version 2 with a slightly brighter viewfinder and what they say is a better sort of feel. It's supposed to have better build quality. And
Better ergonomics.
yeah, and this is actually, there have already been people commenting saying, oh, it's just a rebranded Mint product, and that's fair. However, Rolly did do some sort of engineering work with this camera to make it a little bit distinctive. So we'll see. Like I said, it was fully funded on Kickstarter in less than 2 hours, which is incredibly impressive.
Do you know how much they had to raise?
Yeah, they weren't raising a ton of money. They were only asking for 25,000.
That's still a lot. If I just made that in 2 hours, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, I think it's mostly like a pre-order type of thing. Like they want to see what level of interest there is.
Right.
And in my conversations with the representatives from the company, they are sort of using it as a gauge to see like, okay, how much interest is there in a TLR? How much interest is there in a camera with a Rolleiflex name on it? So this is interesting. It's an indicator of sort of, that Rolly is looking sort of to get going again. If you guys know the story of that company, they've been through a lot of changes of ownership and splitting into different, sort of spin-off companies, and so it's been a long road, but we'll see if this goes anywhere else after this sort of instant camera thing happens. So how many horsepowers? I think there's a lot. I think like 5, which is a lot. I mean, compared to like a car, it's not a lot, but I mean, get 5 horses in your living room. It's kind of a lot.
You said this thing takes Instax by Fuji. Is it Instax Mini or
It's
the
mini, yeah.
standard?
No, it's mini.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. I didn't think they would go for something like that. That's
Yeah.
not what I would. That's not what I pictured when I first saw this. Anyway, the article.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one.
No, it's definitely interesting. I'm interested to hear well, I've already heard what some of our readers have to say about it on Facebook and on our website. I would say the conversation is sort of following a track that I expected. There's definitely people who are very invested in medium format and Rolly cameras and classic cameras who are just kind of like, why would I be interested in this, right? It's just like it's just a copy, it's a rebrand, it's a Mint, and it's an instant camera. Um, but much like we saw with the Yashica rebrand of their Digifilm camera that they, whatever, the sort of hybrid digital film camera that they came out with on Kickstarter, it sold, I can't even remember, like more than $1 million worth of Kickstarter pre-orders. So I guess the point I'm making is like there's definitely a disconnect between like hardcore film nerds and like the popularity of instant film. It's still super popular, and the market is there. So it's good. I don't know. It's good. It's good news for me to see, I guess, Rolly selling things again that aren't, tripods, which is what they've been doing. But yeah, so if you have any thoughts about it, let us know. Regardless, though, we'll be getting one certainly right when it comes out, and we'll test it and let you guys know what it's like. But yeah, so that's the big news for today. Pretty interesting. It's always interesting when new cameras come out, even if they're not necessarily brand new or
Just kind of reinvent it a little bit, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Especially, I don't know what you're comparing it to, but did the last camera that's based off of also use the Instax Minis?
No. Well, the Mint camera that it's sort of derived from is an instant camera, but
Uses
the
different format,
Rolleiflex was traditionally medium format
right.
TLR using 120 film.
Okay. Do you think it's a good choice for them to switch over to Instax Minis, or
I think
is that just more popular and more
I think
widely available?
if it gets money back to Rolly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Rolly has a product now that they're selling and they're making money, I think that's a good thing because it allows them to now do things
right
with money, right? So
mm-hmm.
so if the ultimate goal is a new Rolleiflex TLR that shoots medium format film, this is the step that's going to make that at least more possible.
Yeah, available.
Whereas right now it's impossible.
Right.
I mean, to imagine Rolly, coming out with a brand new medium format camera, it's just.
When was the last time medium format was like popular?
Oh, medium format's still popular. I mean, yeah, there's still plenty of medium format film cameras being purchased on the used market. There's also medium format digital cameras.
Oh, okay.
Which are extremely expensive, and the sensor isn't technically as large as the image area of medium format film from back in the day, but it's a larger than a full frame sensor. So
okay.
Yeah, for image quality, you can't really. There's no getting around. Larger is better, I guess. So
right.
So professional studio photographers, people who are working for ad agencies, making serious money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have no problem buying a $15,000 medium format digital camera.
Right. Something a little bit out of our reach.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit out of the reach of the normal people or hobbyists, but. Hey, good morning to you as well. Lost in the white space. Good to see you. But to answer that question, Bulimic Unicorn, the G1 autofocus is okay. I mean, it's good. It struggles in certain situations. Manual focus is pretty bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll be
wasn't expecting that.
I'll be perfectly honest. It's yeah, it's not great. On the G2, I would say it's a little bit more intuitive in that you have sort of that front scroll wheel here in the front. But either way you look at it, it's an electronic focusing system, so it doesn't have that sort of, lovely tactile feel that a manual focus lens has, where you just grab the ring and you turn it. If you've used like a modern Fujifilm digital camera, it's very similar to that. The modern Fujifilm digital cameras, you spin a ring on the front of the lens, and that sort of tells an electronic motor where to adjust the focus. So it's sort of like it's hard to even really call it true manual focus.
That's what our store's camera does, right? Is that what this lens is? Because it feels like that.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. That's what that camera does. It's got the same.
Yeah,
sort of digital
it feels kind of the same.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's a focus by wire system.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm not as in control with that. It's always, sometimes I move it a little and it adjusts at all, either a lot or not at all.
Yeah. So the other thing that's a little bit, I would say, less than ideal is there's no indication in the viewfinder to show. I don't know if this would ever work. Probably not, but.
Oh, close.
This is difficult. So there's no indication. We're in manual focus mode. There's no indication that you have achieved focus, right? Because there's no focus patch or split image or anything like that. You get sort of a representation of focus through these LCD display on the bottom, and it kind of like lands in the middle on this pointer. It's hard to describe, but so when you're adjusting this dial on the top, you can kind of see that LCD display like creeping to the middle, which will tell you that you're basically focusing on what's in the center of the frame. But I mean, yeah, I'm using it now. I mean, it's just less than ideal. It's and you can hear it too, I'm sure. So as we make adjustments.
So are those the actual gears turning?
Yeah. So what's happening? The autofocus motor is just sort of linking the lens focus distance to what you've selected on this knob.
Okay.
And on the G2, it's a very similar thing. It's just on a knob on the front here, and you spin it this way, sort of like the original Contax rangefinder, which I have in the other room, but I'm not going to go get it. But it's same sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, if you're shooting a G2 or a G1, I would think the best way to shoot it is in autofocus. Manual focus, I guess you can use in a pinch, but I wouldn't. I don't shoot it that way. I've owned a G2 for a long time, and I never shoot it in manual focus. It just doesn't work great. and it's a much less pleasurable experience as well. So anyway, hope that answers your question. The G1 is smaller than the G2. People don't really mention that, but I try to mention it every time a G1 or a G2 comes up. The G1 is substantially smaller than a G2, so if you want a G series camera and size is a thing for you, I would recommend the G1. Autofocus is a little slower, but sort of the benefits of that size decrease, I think, outweigh that, if size is something you care about.
How old are these cameras? When were they released? Or this one anyway?
G1 I think came out in '94. Could be wrong. It could be '96. I always get mixed up. It's either G1 '94, G2 '96, or it's G1 '96, G2 '98. Okay. The G2 came out 2 years after the G1. I'm pretty sure the G1 came out in '96, and they made G series cameras till 2005. Okay. When the G2 was discontinued.
Was G2 the furthest I gotten it, or was there a G3?
Yeah, no, the G2 was the last Contax. I'm pretty sure it was the last Contax camera.
Oh.
Because it was owned by Kyocera at that time, and they pulled the plug. But one of the best, I mean, just really one of the best cameras that I've ever used. G2, I love it so much. What's up? We're too young to die. Good to see you. As always. Yeah, if manual focus is like the reason you shoot old cameras, I think there are definitely better cameras to choose than a G series camera, especially right now where G series prices. I mean, the G1 you can get with a lens for a good, 500, 600, 700, something like that. Depends on which lens it comes with. But that's kind of a lot. Like I've said this before, you can get a Minolta CLE for the same price, which is a manual focus and fantastic camera. You can even get, if you're willing to hunt around a little bit, you could get a Leica M for that price. You might not be able to get a lens for that price, but you could eventually. $100 for some of the older Japanese cameras that work on Leica M series cameras lenses. So yeah, there's definitely better options if manual focus is what you love. Back to the Circus Peanuts.
The Circus Peanuts.
I think we've said all we can say about.
Yeah, there's not too much else. I almost made a bad decision and then.
Yeah, Circus Peanut.
Was and then didn't.
Are they edible? Technically, yes.
Yeah.
Should they be eaten? Probably
also
not.
Yes.
No, well.
They're probably the best candy there is right now.
They're the oldest old person candy. It's like Circus Peanut,
been around
good and plenty.
I like good and plenties too.
Yeah.
They're just I don't know. They're classics. How can you not? They're cheap. They taste pretty good.
Next time we see you, you'll be wearing like half moon, bifocal lenses and a cardigan.
Yeah.
Cold in here.
It's cold in Massachusetts.
It's always cold in here, James.
Pull some Circus Peanuts out of my pocket.
That's awesome.
Oh, is it the one I was looking at? Oh,
5 pounds? Wow.
I did come across that one last night. I only went for the 2-pound one, but yeah, see how cheap. Oh, well, I wouldn't spend 25 on it, but 25, that's almost, $5.
How long does that last you?
A few days. I don't know.
A few days? Wow.
I don't know.
Oh,
it depends
Lord.
if I'm sharing it with people or if I'm in the mood.
Oh, please. We know you're not sharing.
It's got 36 customer reviews, though, so I'm not the only person who thought it was a good idea. 1 star.
5 star. Hilarious.
This is amazing.
Kyle has a Circus Peanut blog. If you guys want to check it out, he writes about
different Circus Peanuts.
Writes about news and reviews, of course. I mean, you got to review it.
I didn't think there were any reviews on Circus Peanuts, but these people are actually putting in their 2 cents on the quality of these Circus Peanuts on that 5-pound bag.
Yeah.
That's strange. That's a lot of effort for like a convenience store candy.
These Circus Peanuts got stuck in my dentures. 1 star.
1 star.
Anyway, let's do some camera stuff, right? Yeah. Let's clean up some cameras. I'm going to give Kyle some things to clean. I'm going to clean some things. We're going to have fun. If you guys want to talk about anything, let me know in the chat. Like I've said many times on this stream, this is sort of an interactive podcast. Let's hear from our readers. We'll talk about what's going on in the world of cameras, photography, circus peanuts, whatever you guys want. Hockey, the Boston Bruins won Game 7 last night.
What did they win by? How much? What was the score?
I think the final score ended up being 6-4. If I'm remembering correctly. If anyone here is from Toronto watching, I apologize. I've been there. It's not fun. I mean, not Toronto. I've been to, on the losing side of...
I've been there to Toronto. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that came out wrong.
Yeah.
If anyone here is from Toronto, I've been there and I'm sorry. No, that's not what I mean. So we're going to clean some stuff. Let's do that. Yeah. Anything in this box can be cleaned. You guys are getting a peek into the inner workings of the store. I hope you enjoy it.
Does this piece just come right off?
Meanwhile, in Europe.
It does. That's kind of cool. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Pentax Asahi.
Accessory shoe. I'll be right back. I need to get some sort of beaker. Kyle's going to entertain.
You say that every time. I feel like I don't do a very good job. Oh god, well I already messed this up again. Oh, I got it.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's Kyle's beaker.
Yeah. It's an essential part of the storefront. The void is pretty good at entertaining us. Oh, that's good. Meanwhile...
Who said the void?
Joe.
The void hasn't been around in a while.
No. I think I'm the void to him. I don't know how that translates.
Yeah, I don't know. What's up, exposure therapy? Yes, it is a G1. There's a bunch of stuff here. We're going to clean up a little bit. We're going to clean off this work area. And I'm going to get to work on cleaning up some cameras. This XA is being sent to one of our writers. So that's exciting. He's going to have a good time writing about that. Let's send them a message and see if we can get some of those guys in here. It's always fun when we can chat with our writers. They may be busy. Aren't afraid of electronic cameras? Are you asking me? Are you asking me if I'm afraid of electronic cameras, or are you saying you're not afraid of them? I'm gonna raise up this camera a little bit, give you guys a better view here. There we go. That was the working on a lens angle of view here. Hope it's not making you guys motion sick. We've started uploading these streams to YouTube now.
Oh, did we start doing that?
Yeah, so if you guys can't catch these on Twitch for whatever reason, you can always watch them on YouTube, or if you want to leave comments there, you can. So I'm not sure that you can leave comments on the video on demand here on Twitch. But either way, you can watch all of the old streams on Twitch and now on YouTube. So we have some other content on YouTube. It's all pretty rough. We've wanted to do video content on YouTube for a long time, but that it's a huge investment of time and also surprisingly money. It's if you want to do quality content, you really need to pay some money. Because otherwise it's just going to be sort of low quality stuff, and we're not into that.
Do you have any batteries that would maybe fit
No,
into
that's tested.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, everything in there is tested and good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all that stuff just needs to be cleaned up.
Alright.
So yeah, you can check out that stuff on YouTube too. What do you mean by quality content? Well, we just like to do everything to sort of a high standard, right? So, like a good example is when we write an article about a Kickstarter project, for example, we don't do what most sites do, which is they just sort of copy the content from the Kickstarter campaign and call that an article, right? So like they're really not adding anything to the conversation. I guess that's the best way to describe it. We always want to be adding value to anything that we're putting out. So I don't know if that answers your question. I just don't want to. I've never wanted to produce YouTube videos that are just sort of like,
samey.
Yeah, like what everybody else is doing, and also, yeah, just sort of like me sitting in an office talking about a camera, or even, going out on the street and shooting one and then talking about it. I mean, those can be entertaining, but other people are doing them, and we sort of just wanted to add something, so we didn't really launch that. We've shot some videos. We've been working on a video for the past couple of months.
Forgot about that one.
But the production crew that we're using has a lot of projects going on at the same time, so it's taking a while. Really trying to get it out because it's a very good idea, and I think it's something that people will really enjoy, but we just got to make it happen. We've shot a few days worth of content, but anyway, I don't know if that answers your question.
Just don't use instrumental hip hop for soundtrack, please. It's a solid statement right there. They're all like that. They really are. It's such a
chill hop.
Yeah, just like anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, just background music.
Yeah.
Just some modern electronic.
Yeah. That's because it's cheap.
Something off SoundCloud.
Yeah. Doesn't cost a lot.
Where they don't even need to pay the people, probably.
Right. So excited for the new Reflex. Absolutely. I'm excited for that too. I believe the founder of Reflex is actually in the United States right now.
Where's he from originally?
I think he's based in London.
Okay.
I think he's originally not from London. I know that. Maybe. Well, I don't want to say. I think I know, but I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's actually it's on a article that we wrote about Reflex. So if you go to the website. That's just contacts noise. Contacts make a lot of noises. Most of them are pleasant.
Yeah, it didn't sound that great.
Can you link to the Contacts G2 review?
Yeah, sure.
Just go on the site and search Contacts G2.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, exposure therapy, we definitely, I don't know if you were the one that mentioned that on one of our previous streams that we should upload to YouTube, but I mean, I did, if that was you, I did think about that, and we sort of weighed the options there and calculated sort of the cost to benefit, and the only cost really is just in our time, sort of exporting the video and then importing it to YouTube, and it doesn't take that long, but when you're running a business like this, every minute counts. So But either way, the benefit of what you just said, sort of having that information on YouTube, even in the case that we fail to repair a camera, which has happened once or twice, it's good info to have. So yeah, if you suggested that, thanks for the suggestion, and we're doing it now. So you can find those things on YouTube, and the other thing is on Twitch, your video on demand, archive videos do go away over time. So we didn't want those to be lost forever. So having them on YouTube is also a good suggestion. So yeah, cool. Well, thanks for the suggestion, and I appreciate the feedback. So
that link's up, by the way, for the G2.
Yeah, the G2. We posted a link. I put that there just because in that review I recorded a bunch of sounds that the G2 makes, and we were just talking about this G1 making noise. So if you want to hear more G2 sounds, you can go to that review and click on that. It's one of the best sounding cameras. It's just very precise and sort of like these motors in it that sound very sort of like high precision. It's very cool. So anyway, the shutter sounds great. This one's a little louder than the G2, and especially with this giant lens. So anyway, see if we can get. I mean, this one sounds good too. I think there's a burst mode. It's a somewhat slow shutter speed. The G2 has a great burst mode. It's fast. Anyway, that's one camera clean. Just gonna keep putting stuff over there. I'm gonna clean up this XA. This is getting shipped out to Josh, who's one of our writers, so you guys probably recognize the name. He's gonna be doing a little project with this XA and creating some content around it. We've written plenty of stuff about the XA before, but sort of in a roundabout way. It's been mentioned very recently in our sort of alternative point and shoot article that we just published a couple days ago. I think it was on Monday. That was an article that we were talking about some of the very expensive point and shoots that exist now, the Contax T series and the Olympus Mu 2 specifically, and trying to give you guys some alternatives to those rather expensive cameras that are just as good or better and cost less money, and a lot of the XA series was on there. The XA1, 2, 3, and 4 are actually point and shoot cameras. This XA is a rangefinder, so it's not really directly comparable, but the later XAs are comparable, and in some cases, especially with the XA4, certainly more interesting to me, I think, than a Mu 2 or a Contax. It has a 28mm focal length lens, so.
Gotta keep track of all those parts. There's so many of them.
Yeah, where did this washer come from? Yeah, nah, man, I've been there. That's cool though. Where are you streaming? Are you streaming on Twitch or on YouTube? Last time we did this stream, we had a bunch of well, I say a bunch. We had a few podcasters in here. And they've been messaging me a little bit here and there, so that's cool. Always try to promote other people doing the same sort of stuff we're doing. So if you're streaming somewhere, repairs, you can feel free to link it in the chat here. Pen EE2, yeah, I think we just mentioned that, right? sort of mentioned it quickly. That was a camera I sold through the shop a little while ago. I don't have any in right now. But yeah, all the compact Olympus cameras are fantastic. I sort of gravitate more towards this era, sort of the 1960s and 70s cameras. I'm a little bit less interested personally in point and shoots and cameras from the 90s, but there's nothing wrong with them. It's just my personal sort of stuff I seem to gravitate toward. Like I think the XA, this camera right here, is almost perfect. One of the best Olympus cameras ever made. I just love the size. I love the design. I love sort of the backstory of the man who created it, Yoshihisa Maitani, and sort of the struggles that went into developing a camera this capable that's also this small. Plus it just has that sort of like enough of that tactile element to it that the point and shoots sort of lack. Point and shoots are just a little too automatic for me. What's going on, camera?
Is it blurry?
No, it's like continually attempting to autofocus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bulimic Unicorn, I'm totally with you. I mean, we've had the conversation sort of internally between myself and the writers about like, you know, what's going on with the prices for the Mewtwo and the Contax T. They're good cameras, but you know, we've shot a lot of cameras, and we've shot $20 Kodak point and shoots, right? That are like pretty much garbage, but they make virtually indistinguishable pictures from the Mew series specifically. So yeah, it's a little odd. And I think that's what we tried to touch upon in that article. Sort of talk about just how much those prices may be influenced by hype and sort of like, you know, certain appearances that those cameras have made in sort of more mainstream places, I guess you might say. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them, and if you love those cameras, definitely go buy one. We're not saying, you know, we're not saying anything bad about anything or the people who enjoy them, but we were just trying to give some alternatives. And yeah, I saw someone said Maitani is Lord. I agree. Guy is a legend. Yeah, Zuiko. I mean, man, Zuiko stuff is really good. The only problem I've had with Zuiko lenses is, and this is totally anecdotal, someone else's experience could be completely different from mine, but sort of like the standard lenses, like the 50 1.8 in OM mount, tends to, like, you know, get fungus and sort of dust and debris more easily than sort of comparable lenses, I think, from Minolta, Nikon, even Canon. So sometimes I worry, you know, about Zuiko lenses, like, oh, you know, is it going to be full of fungus or what? But again, at the same time, all of these things are 40 years old, so just find one that's in good condition, and you'll be good. Slowly becoming an Olympus fanboy. Yeah, we have one of our writers, Dustin, is like a diehard Olympus dude. He just loves Olympus. Shoots a lot of OM2, a lot of compacts, the RC, sort of the older rangefinders. He's written a lot about those cameras on the website. Really loves them. I mean, they're great. Oh, I wanted to mention Twitch stream. Good luck. I saw your comment. Yeah, get a webcam and You know, they're cheap. I think the one we're using, I mean, it's not the best one in the world, but I think it was like, what, like $60 for this thing?
No, it was only, yeah, 50 maybe?
Yeah, I think 50.
It's the best one on the market right now for any, like, casual streamer.
Yeah.
Definitely. What was it, the C920, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid
It's good.
streaming camera. It's got a decent mic, too. Aren't we just using the built-in mic for that?
Yeah, we're just using the mic. We have another mic. I've said this in the stream before, but
it's giving too many issues.
The USB port that we plugged it in on the computer conked out, so we're still working on fixing that. What about Olympus bridge cameras? Can you hand me that camera that's in that black case on the shelf? Yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's just
Oh,
stuck
yeah.
on there, I guess.
So we have this in the shop right now, and it's unusual. It's an unusual design, right? So it's sort of like a bridge camera. It's a fixed lens, but it has a really long zoom range, 28 to 110. It's got, pretty sure it has, yeah. So this is an aspherical lens, so you're gonna get pretty good distortion control. No aberrations. I've used this a couple times, just sort of like have some fun, and it works great. I think the biggest problem is probably the way it looks, right? So these tend to sit in the shop for a little while, but they do eventually get purchased. But yeah, the sort of aesthetic of them isn't very appealing, I guess. So
yeah, it looks pretty bulky for
yeah, but I think we sell these for like 40, 45 bucks or something like that. And for that amount of money, I mean, you're gonna get SLR quality photos for pretty cheap. So it's kind of a fun, I don't know, fun way to make good pictures for not a lot of money. I don't think this camera would be landing on my, must-haves list, but good for someone. Yeah, I mean the Mewtwo. I think the best argument for a Mewtwo is the size and the weather sealing, right? So it's not waterproof, but it is sort of weather sealed, so you can take it out in conditions that aren't perfect, and it is tiny. I mean, I have one right here, right? So it's pretty small. That said, right? So I don't know. It just depends what you like, I guess. This isn't weather sealed, but some people would say that this is a more reliable camera than this. It's also a rangefinder, so you have manual focus control. And the thing about it is you can set it here to the red dot there, and then put it at 5.6 or 8, and pretty much everything is going to be in focus. So in that respect, this could actually be a faster camera on the street, right, than this, where you have to wait for it to autofocus. So, I mean, it is... I've said this on articles on the site before. There is no perfect camera. Every camera ever made has some degree of, or brings with it some degree of compromise, right? You know, this camera isn't going to work for this person, or this person, or in this situation. So there's always sort of factors to weigh, and you gotta decide, what you want the most. But that's why websites like ours exist, so you can go read about them, right?
Yeah.
And then figure out what you want based on our experience. So another plug.
Let's see. I'm curious.
Do I like bridge cameras? They're okay. I mean, so the one I just showed you, this Olympus, I can't even remember what it's called. IS-10 Super Deluxe Glass Aspherical Lens. That's kind of a bridge camera for film. This is a film camera, 35 millimeter. And yeah, they're good. They work well. It's definitely something like this is a camera that you could use as your only camera. so you don't have to carry a lot. You don't have to carry extra lenses. Me personally, I mean, I would probably pick something else because I just sort of a big part of shooting film for me is the camera itself, the sort of mechanical nature of a camera and feeling it and sort of changing lenses, getting new lenses, things like that. So bridge camera maybe not for me, but yeah, for the right shooter, absolutely, it's a fine choice. They sold a lot of bridge cameras, so they must be doing something right. Yeah, the original Mu is very slow. Well, I mean, it's slow. It's slow to autofocus, um, for sure. This Mu 2 is a little bit better, but yeah, I mean, autofocus, especially from this era, is not as good as autofocus today, where you press the button and no time goes by, and you have in focus shot. Um, Back then, there was definitely sort of well, I think when the original Mu came out, autofocus was maybe 5 or 6 years old, right? The technology debuted in the Minolta Maxim 7000 as the first. It wasn't the first autofocus camera, but it was the first one that was uh, good enough to sort of be widely accepted and used and sell in good quantities. So, yeah, I mean, autofocus was still pretty new. It's not like it is today. What do you got there? Oh, that thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about it. Is this just 4 shots on a single frame, or
Yes.
is it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
That's strange.
So you can see.
Taker.
We'll show the chat.
Tracker.
Kyle's cleaning the action tracker, point and shoot. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it has 4 lenses, and it has an interesting shutter. So it exposes 4 tiny images on one frame of 35mm film, and you'll see. I think you'll be able to see this when we actuate the shutter. It kind of goes around in a circle. So.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you guys could see that.
Probably not, but I get it now. So it's 4 shots a moment apart each time.
Yeah. So it's sort of chases. I mean, that's why they call it the action tracker. I guess it sort of is supposed to show action over a very short period of time.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you could kind of see that.
It a little bit. That's cool.
So that's the beautiful camera Kyle's working on.
Quality built. I don't think there's a single piece of metal on this.
No, not at all.
I like the viewfinder too. Did you see this?
Yeah, the flip up. Yeah.
The little flip up thing. It's so funny.
That won't break off.
No, definitely not.
All right, my next camera that I'm going to work on, and by work on I just mean clean up, get ready for sale in the shop, is this Nikonos 3, Nikon's well-known underwater camera, the 3rd version. Do you have a link to the Nikonos article?
Ooh.
I think we did, right?
I do, yeah.
You guys probably saw this. If you're on the site every now and then, you probably already saw it, but we're going to link it anyway. It's a link to sort of a in-depth retrospective on Nikon's underwater cameras, and in that we talk about this camera a little bit. So
there we go. All right, link for that. So
that's there. If you want to click on that, you can go check out a bunch of really amazing underwater cameras. These are, I said it in that post, and I've said it on Instagram, I've said it on Facebook, a bunch of places really. Is this the same camera from the article? This Nikonos, is that what you're asking, or you're talking about the earlier one? Let me know. I'll come back to you for sure.
I'll be talking about the action tracker, the one and
Could be,
only.
yeah. But yeah, these Nikonos cameras are literally my favorite Nikon cameras ever made. I just love them so much. They're sort of like, it's sort of like in the same way that I really like the Rolex Submariner. If you're a watch nerd, I'm kind of a watch nerd. I can't really afford a Rolex Submariner, but I just love that watch. I love that it's sort of a tool watch, but it's also like extremely stylish, and it has that sort of mix of like function and capability, and that's sort of what I see the Nikonos as. They're built for a very specific purpose, but at the same time, they're really nice looking. They're beautiful, and they can be used, out of the water, in the water. So it's it gives me that sort of same feeling of having a tool in your hand, which is interesting to me. So, is this the same one from the article? No. This one we got into the shop maybe a couple days after that article posted. But we've had a bunch of these come in and sell through f-stop cameras. So we're always getting Nikonos in. We've sold every one of them. We've sold Nikonos 1, 2, 3, the 4A, which is, it could be my favorite, but it's close. And then the 5, Nikonos 5 or Nikonos V. So yeah, how many fathoms? I don't know how many fathoms because I don't really know that math. The Nikonos 1, 2, 3, and 4A have a depth rating. No, I think I might be wrong about the 4A. Having a little bit of a mental block. 1, 2, and 3 plus the Calypso I think have a rated depth of 60 meters or 50 meters.
What is a fathom? 6 feet?
Is it? I have no idea.
I think so. I think a fathom is 6 feet. I'll look that up.
And then the 4 and the 5 might, I can't remember if they stayed at 60 or if they went up to 100. I just can't remember. I think they upgraded to about 100. And then the RS, which was the amazing autofocus Nikonos, which nobody has. I mean, you never see those. They were so expensive, and they only made them for a short period of time. But the autofocus Nikonos SLR is rated to 200 meters. So that one's pretty serious.
Yeah, it was 6 feet.
Yeah. So 10 fathoms, I guess. Well, something like that, right?
What did you say? 60 meters
Yeah.
or yards?
Oh, meters, yeah.
Ooh, no, that doesn't equate.
Oh my God. Math.
I don't know.
6 feet.
Conversion.
So that's 2 meters, right?
Yeah. No, it's 2 yards.
Well, meters is very close to yards, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, 2 yards is 1.8 meters. So the higher you go, the further you get from
I'm not
the truth.
Jacques Cousteau or Steve Zissou.
No, you're neither of those people.
So I don't know.
Zissou.
James Cameron confirmed. Yeah.
Isn't that the director that went down to the Mariana Trench or whatever?
I think he made the movie The Abyss.
Maybe. I think it was that one.
Probably. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I think he's got some
submarine.
To confirm
that in the chat. I'd appreciate
Listen,
it.
guys, we're out of our depth with the diving stuff.
And the director stuff.
Yeah, we're just
directors.
I can't answer this question. The V is the SLR, right? No. It's a viewfinder camera. Yeah, classic meter versus feet conversation. It is classic. The Nikonos 5 or the V is it's still a viewfinder camera. So you have the basic same setup. There's a viewfinder with frame lines and a lens that you adjust aperture and focus, and you scale focus. So it's the V's scale focus camera. The RS AF was a true SLR camera. So, and that thing is amazing. Like I just said, I mean, it's just an unbelievable accomplishment. Such incredible technology, but very rare and very expensive. I would love to use one day, so we'll see if I can make that happen. Maybe I'll talk to my friends at B&H and maybe they can send one. See if they have one sort of like hidden in the back, like they found a bunch of those Fujifilm rangefinders not long ago. But yeah,
that was right. It was James Cameron who went to the bottom, deepest point of the ocean.
Good job. I wonder if he had a Nikonos with him.
I don't know, but he was the only one in the thing. That'd be terrifying.
That would be, yeah.
You're like 7 miles under the surface, just alone.
I don't want to do that.
You don't?
No.
It'd be a good photo opportunity.
It would be.
Photo op.
Have you been diving?
No, not actually diving, just like
training,
snorkeling and stuff.
Yeah.
Never actually had like a scuba.
Yeah.
Well, I've practiced. I think I did get like a license for it at one point, but I've never done it in the ocean.
Yeah.
Just big pools.
Yeah, I know you were in that program, right?
Yeah, we did it there.
Yeah, it's something I really, really want to do.
It's cool. I think it'd be kind of terrifying depending on where you're doing it, but
yeah, man, I was snorkeling in Florida once, and yeah, the fish just were not intimidated by me, and it made me like question everything. It was like, should I be in this water
You're
right
too
now?
far
It's
out
like
of your
this
element.
fish it's like right here.
He could just attack me with some fish.
I'd be like, yeah, I'd be like, hey, fish, get out of here. I don't want, I don't. I'm just trying to look at stuff here, and like I would wave at it to get it to go away, and it would like back up, but then it would come right back.
Yeah,
it was like, okay,
they have no fear.
no,
They're like, this
yeah.
idiot can't swim like I can.
Yeah,
They know that.
so it frightens me. The ocean frightens me, but I wanna do it, and I'll admit.
You could take the Nikonos. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll admit I mostly want to do it just to use this camera underwater.
You have you ever? Have you like?
I've used it in my
like
pool.
A pool? Yeah.
Yeah. I've used it in my pool. I've taken them to the beach. I've shot in like the beach, the waves, but yeah, never.
No, you've got to. I don't think you can call yourself a legit fan until you take it.
I think you're
to
right.
the Mariana Trench.
Wow.
Go seven
That's
miles on
hardcore.
the surface.
Yeah, I'm hoping this year, because diving with a camera in sort of this area where we're located.
Okay, yeah, Massachusetts is not.
Is
a great
pretty
area
bad. I
for
mean,
it.
everything is just brown.
The water is terrible.
You can't
here.
see through the water.
There'd be no point.
It's freezing. Like no matter what time of year, the water's cold.
I found out. I don't know if you already know this, but California waters are actually colder year round.
Very cold.
I never thought that growing up, but I guess it's just because it comes from like the Arctic.
Yeah, I guess.
So. Yeah, we have it better than California, but
in that one way.
In that one regard, yeah, it's still clearer over there.
Yeah.
We can't.
Well, that's
see
the other
anything.
thing. If you do like brave the freezing cold, and for some reason the water isn't completely full of sediment, all you're really gonna see is like tires.
Yeah.
Tires.
That's gross.
Like bikes, broken benches that were thrown in like the last time the Bruins won the Stanley Cup. It's like there's nothing good. Oh, and horseshoe crabs, which are
oh my god,
absolutely.
They're interesting.
They should be called horrifying crabs.
Horrifying crabs.
Those are awful.
They don't look real. They're bizarre.
It's tainted with tea. That's a good point. Yeah, the Boston Harbor is, most people that don't live around here don't know this, but Boston Harbor is 80% tea.
Yeah, crazy. You can still see the tea
There
bags
was was so much thrown in that it's a super fun site, and we're trying to clean it up, but it's not easy. I don't know if it's a true fact.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. I apologize. I know how that feels, man. 2 years after that, we were in the same situation with Chicago, right? So, I feel you. We were almost in that situation last night too, but they pulled it out. So we'll see how far they get. Ghetto street photography needs to become a thing.
What?
It kind of is. You just gotta find the right photographer.
And street, I guess.
Yeah. I'm gonna open this up, but I need to grab a tool from the other room. This has a very interesting thing installed on it, which is an aftermarket accessory that I've never seen before. So it puts the winder on where your thumb is. Normally on this camera, this is how you would wind this, which is, it's not the most comfortable thing, but it works well for people with gloves on and stuff like that. So it's a good idea. Someone added this to it at some point. I'm just going to undo the set screw, take that off, and then we'll get to cleaning. Did we burn down cop cars? No, but I mean, you know.
Where did that happen again? I forgot about that story.
Vancouver?
Did that happen there?
Yeah.
Oh.
When the Red Sox win, there tends to be more stuff that happens.
I meant the ghetto part. I'm still a little confused about the ghetto comment. And I can't say much about Bruins. I'm sorry. I'm not. I don't follow sports too closely. I just got some diving and oceanography knowledge.
Are you entertaining?
Not really.
Come on, man.
I don't think these people want to talk about the ocean.
It's your job.
No, it's not. Missed intro, JHG71.
Poolography? No, I don't know. The U.S. versus Canada debate is not. we don't want that debate here. We love Canada. Trust me.
Canada's alright.
Canada's fantastic. We're my family and I are going to Disney World.
Didn't you just get back?
Yeah, this year, and my wife was asking, you know, Epcot has that World Showcase thing, right, where it's like all the, you know, nations or whatever. I say it like I don't really know, but I really do. I'm actually a massive Disney World fan. I can't hide it. So, anyway, she asked where I wanted to have get restaurant reservations. I picked Canada. So there you go.
Okay.
That's my story.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Shows you're a true fan. Beantown. Canada's a shit. Alright, Canada's pretty cool. I've only been there twice though. It was at Niagara Falls, I think. I went onto the Canada side, so I didn't go that far.
That's like, yeah, that's barely even.
It was
Canada.
mostly still America.
Yeah.
Just. Actually, no, I did go a little bit further than that once. I drove like 2 hours into it, I think.
You drove 2 hours in, turned around, and came back?
Yeah. I don't remember why.
Well, the dude that's in here from Canada is from the totally opposite side.
Oh, what is he from, like British Columbia?
Vancouver.
Okay.
I want to go there. It looks fantastic. I mean, it just looks like an amazing city.
Will you open, please?
Hey, Vicuna. Good to see you, buddy. Sounds like you're having a fun time. Take some pictures, of course. Yeah, we talked about the Rolleiflex. We were just sort of giving a rundown and getting some opinion, talking to you guys about, you know, what you thought of it. But yeah, feel free to leave your thoughts on the website on that article if you have anything you want to say about that. I mean, I would love to hear your opinion. I know you are a Rolleiflex fan, correct? Pretty sure we featured you, right? And a bunch of your shots were made with that, right? So let's hear it. But yeah, we have a lot of readers from other areas of the world. Obviously, it's the internet, right? So there's a lot of people, but I do kind of poke in and, like, you know, when I see people on Instagram or whatever, I look at their feeds and people that comment on the website, often leave links to where their images can be seen. And yeah, the people that are in Europe, I gotta tell you, I'm very envious of the photographic opportunities. And I know there's just as many photographic opportunities everywhere, right? But it's just something about there. I was in Europe for a little while back in 2012, and I didn't do as much shooting as I should have. Really, is the lesson. So everywhere you go, take your camera. Yeah, that's kind of my. Basically, I want poutine. Sorry, I should come back to that. Yes, I specifically said that to my wife because I've never had it, and I have this other friend, Andrew, and he's always talking about poutine, right?
Is he?
Yeah, it's like French fries and like cheese curd and whatnot.
Oh, okay. He has. I don't know what poutine is,
that Canadian.
But he does talk about that.
Yeah. He's gone there to get that.
Really?
Yeah, for like no other reason. So, anyway, yeah, we're gonna try that. I'm sorry if that's like very stereotypical and like ignorant American, But anyway.
Seems like it if he called you out that
Yeah,
easily.
he did. He was just like,
he's
like, this stupid idiot wants poutine and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've never had it, so that's kind of my I guess my only defense is I've never had it and I want to try it. So, but anyway. Where in Europe was I? Where did we go? We went to England. This was in 2012. The Olympics were happening in England, so we went to England and we were in London for the last day of the Olympics. We stayed in England for about 4 or 5 days. We did sort of like English countryside stuff, and we did London, of course. Yeah, that's all you have. I think you have more than that. But I know what you're saying. Self-deprecating. I do the same thing. But yeah, no. So in Europe, yeah, London, England, country, staying in a manor and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. Really great. Loved being in England. It was great. After that, we took the underwater tunnel, the channel, to France. Went to Paris for a bunch of days. Then we went down to the south of France to Aix, and sort of like drove through Monaco and continued. After a little while, we continued east to Italy. Ended up, where did we go? We went to Milan, and then we drove up from Milan to Lake Como and stayed at Lake Como for a little while. A couple days, not long. Then to Venice, and then hung out there for a little bit, and then we flew back to the boring side of the world, back to America. Yeah, so it was an awesome trip. But honestly, I only shot maybe, I don't know, 200 photos, right? Which, I mean, 200 is a lot, but at the same time, if I went there now, good Lord, I would come back with 50 rolls of film and like 6 or 7 SD cards just full. But anyway. Close to your hometown, Nice? Yeah, I think we went to Nice as well. I can't remember. That part of the trip was sort of kind of like a blur because there was a lot of travel. Like we were in one city or town, and then we went to another town. So we were kind of doing that thing where you go to all the little towns right there on the south coast. But yeah, and we were making our way over to Italy. Oh, we went to I completely forgot. I said we went from France to Milan, but that's not true. We went to Tuscany in between and stayed at some place. I can't remember the town, but that was cool too. A lot of wine. Yeah, I mean it was It was the best trip I think I've ever been on. It was fantastic. Everybody was so nice. I only got yelled at twice. Both times were in Italy.
It's a weird thing to know and remember. Both times were in Italy. What were you doing to get yelled at by it?
The first time my wife and I had arrived in Milan, and we got out of the train station and we were crossing the street, and the street was like this cobblestone. I don't know if it's cobblestone. I don't know if that's what you call them over there, but it was rough stone street.
Okay.
Sort of surrounding the train station.
Right.
And earlier in the trip, my wife's suitcase had broken. The wheel on the bottom was broken. Mm-hmm. So it was an absolute nightmare. Like we were literally dragging her whole suitcase.
I know the issue.
So like I crossed the street, and then I'm a gentleman, so I ran over to help her, and I grabbed her bag and was dragging it across the street, and that stopped traffic. And much like what happens here in Boston, someone was hanging out their window.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in a language I don't.
Was that your Italian?
Yeah, in a language I don't understand. So I actually looked at that guy and I was like, we're all the same.
We are all the same.
We're all the same.
I'd be just as
We're
mad.
all mad when someone blocks us in our car.
Yep.
It was an epiphany. And then the second time was at Lake Como. I parked in a spot that I wasn't allowed to park in, and like stereotypical large old Italian woman leaned out of her like third floor window and was like, you know, yelling at me. Again, I had no idea what she was saying, but I pieced together that, you know, I shouldn't park in that parking spot. So anyway,
well, it's a good thing you have a keen sense of intuition.
This has been the least camera-centric stream I think we've ever done.
Yeah, well, I think it's good for variety.
Yeah,
sometimes
talking about circus peanuts,
diving.
Yeah,
a lot of circus peanuts. Yeah. A lot more than I thought we would talk about. You can park in Italy.
I don't know. I don't think you can. I think that's why I got yelled at.
Yeah.
Nothing to rent in Tuscany. That's absolutely Seinfeld reference. Can you hear my stomach rumbling?
I can, yeah. Should we get food after this?
Soon, yeah. I saute a mean maple leaf? Is that a thing?
Maple leaf, that's the most Canadian thing I've ever heard.
Is that a thing? You cook maple leaves? I don't believe that. I don't believe you. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound real. Mean maple leaf.
No. I don't believe that.
Yeah, we're going to need proof for that.
Yeah, I'm going to need confirmation. Someone asked a question earlier that I saw and I meant to answer and I sort of flaked out. Yeah, we're cleaning this Nikonos. There's nothing mechanically wrong with it, but we're cleaning it and I'm going to grease the seals and I'll show you guys sort of how we do some routine maintenance on these cameras. Every time you take it in and out of salt water specifically, you want to grease the seals. If you're in fresh water, you can do it, you know, not as often, every other time maybe, but sort of, to be honest, you should do it every time. The grease just sort of helps create sort of a watertight seal between the O-ring and the mating surfaces, especially if there's any sort of like very minor scratches or, you know, micro scratches or anything like that. So I'm going to go get some Nikonos grease and we'll start doing that.
So is that a repair technically, or?
We call it maintenance, just like routine maintenance.
Okay, all right. So yeah, real quick, going back to that maple leaf comment, I still don't believe it. I'd like pictures or evidence or something. I've never heard of that. I was talking about the maple leaf.
Oh yeah. Did we get confirmation?
No, that's what I'm asking for. I need to see it.
Oh, that's what I'll eat. Oh, okay. So it's a joke.
Where did they say it?
I think
okay.
Joe said that's what I was going to eat.
You can saute anything. Yeah, I guess.
That's true.
Question is, do you want to?
Yeah,
is
would
it good?
you?
Yeah. And if it's mean, that's implying that it's good, so that's what I really want to know.
To sort of jump into the conversation there between exposure therapy and Vicuna, we featured Vicuna on the website as one of our featured photophiles. So if you go to that feature on the website, you might be able to find him. If you can't, just find him by searching the name. So white silicone grease? No, this is, well, I mean, it could be. This is official Nikon Nikonos O-ring grease, because we do things right here at Casual Photophile and f-stop cameras. And you'll see we also have many original Nikonos O-ring and seal kits. So that's kind of one of the things that we do. We source that stuff so that in case we open up one of these cameras and the O-rings are bad, we can replace them. Same with the lens. So we sort of test them and make sure they're pliable, grease them, clean them and grease them. So every Nikonos camera that we sell through the shop has been totally evaluated, tested underwater. We make sure there's no leaks or anything like that. So yeah, that's another plug for our store, f-stop cameras. Buy a Nikonos from us. If you're gonna buy a Nikonos.
It's a very upfront dish.
Yeah. Yeah, pleasure. It's honestly, the featured photophile is one of my favorite recurring posts that we have on the website. I will tell you, is a secret between you and I and Kyle.
I'm here, and whoever,
and everyone, yeah. It doesn't get a lot of traffic, to be honest. So the featured photophiles segment we do, it just doesn't pull in. It doesn't pull in numbers like readership, right? Which is basically what our whole business's economy is based on. Readership numbers and that traffic driving revenue, like any blog, really. So the benefit to doing the featured photophile from a business perspective is not great, but I love it so much. I love sort of like promoting some of the stuff that our readers are doing and showing other readers, this guy that reads Casual Photophile is making these, or this woman is shooting these amazing, like the last one we did was a girl who was shooting these portraits that I just thought were amazing, like this brilliant, like colorful portraits.
Oh, I saw some of those. Those were really cool.
Yeah, so like I love doing it personally. I love putting it out there. I wish, I've been struggling to sort of figure out a way that to make that reach more people, but the sad truth, I think, in this that I've learned in sort of publishing photography stuff is people are very interested in gear, lenses, cameras, equipment, and maybe a little less interested in seeing what other people are doing, which is unfortunate. Unless that person is someone well known, like a famous street photographer or something like that. Those articles do tend to bring in more viewers, but anyway, that's sort of just some inside information, I guess. If you guys like the featured photophile segment that we do, let me know and leave comments on the post that we put up of people's work, because I know the people we feature want to hear from you guys too. So that's kind of, we're trying to foster sort of like a conversation between readers and feature some of our readers' work and have our other readers sort of comment on that work. So anyway, insider info, I guess. Yeah, I mean the gear posts. I mean that's what keeps us alive, basically. So we obviously have to do that. Plus, we love this stuff. I mean, it's not like it's torture writing about these amazing cameras. We really love it. But I guess I'm just saying I wish I wish other people sort of were more into the featured photophile thing. And we also do the five favorite photos, which is another thing we started middle of last year, maybe late last year, and that's where one of the writers picks a famous photographer and sort of goes through and tries to pick 5 of their favorite shots from that photographer. So I just got distracted by a message that popped up, but so those tend to pull in a lot more viewers too, because it's sort of like names that people might recognize. Like we've done Gary Winogrand, and who else have we done? It's hard to even remember. Joseph Kudelka, just a bunch. Frank Kappa. So those are interesting. We also try to pick 5 shots that maybe haven't been sort of like already picked to death, right? So like 5 shots that aren't totally obvious. But anyway, yeah, check those out. Featured Photophile and the 5 favorite photos. Leave comments to your fellow photophile geeks about what you like about their work. I would appreciate that, and I know they would too. So if you're so inclined, leave a comment and let people know that you like what they're doing. Film profiles are great. Yeah, the film profiles are good. We like those. We like doing them. We have many of those in the pipeline. More of those are coming. We just try not to overload any one segment, right? So like we don't want to have 5 film profiles in a month and sort of wear people out on those. So we sort of try to release things in I don't know, a good order, so the site remains balanced. Vicuna's work is gorgeous. Yeah, it really is. When I saw it, I was like, the first time I saw it, I was like, I gotta get this guy on the featured photophile. So we did. He was one of the first people that we reached out to and got on there. So. Hey, that's awesome to hear. Honestly, like I've said this on streams because other people have said things similar to this, so I hope it's not tiring to hear. But when I hear that one of our articles or something that we're doing, whether it's a stream or a video or whatever, even the Instagram account, when I hear that any of those things have sort of gotten people into photography or film photography specifically, I mean that's huge for us. That's the whole reason we're doing this. So thanks so much for those kind words, and I'm glad that you're enjoying your K1000 and the film. Josh wrote that article, I think, the Fujifilm 400, and he's a great writer, really good photographer. He's the very first writer that we had working on the site, besides myself. So I started the site in 2014, and I think Josh signed on in maybe 2016. And he's been cranking out articles ever since. So happy to have him on there, and glad his writing influenced you in some way. You love those.
Yeah, these are pretty good. I like the Pentax P series. I've never really used them, but I like the rugged structure feel to them.
So I don't know if you guys, some of you probably have not seen the inside of a Nikonos 3. It's very interesting. It's one of the most mechanical cameras you'll see. So let's take a look. It's just very sort of, I don't know the word to describe it. I guess mechanical is the best word. It's just an extremely, I don't want to call it basic, but there's no electronics at all. There's a flash connection, but that's it. And something about it is just very sort of industrial, very just very, very much like a, well, it is. It's a purpose-built machine. So, and when you see sort of this shutter actuate, it's a steel shutter, right? So we've just sort of loaded the spring, and then we shoot it. It's just one of the best sort of all mechanical cameras I can think of. I love it so much. So let's do bulb mode, and we'll just hold it open for a minute. And I don't know if that's interesting. I don't know. This is sort of the stuff that I sort of geek out over. And I'm never quite sure if it's as interesting to other people as it is to me, but I wanted to kind of show you guys the inside of this. And we also have, this is sort of the housing, right? So this is all the sort of business, and this is essentially the lens mount and the housing for the camera. And you have this O-ring here up top, which seals the entire camera internals from water. So on this camera, this is the seal you have to worry about, and then there are a few other minor seals that you do have to sort of pay attention to, but certainly in the viewfinder, just like the other Nikonos cameras. But we're going to clean this, and then we're going to re-grease it, and then we're going to get it listed. You found the website looking for something about the Petri 1.9. Man, I remember that. I think that was written a long time ago, back in maybe 2014, which is like the first year the site existed.
I'll be right back.
Sure. And those early reviews, when I go back and read them, there are things I want to change, right? But I just kind of leave them alone. But yeah, I'm glad you stuck around. I would say our content is better now than it was back then. So thank you for hanging around and sort of following along with us. But yeah, that camera specifically, the Petri 1.9, color corrected super by a company originally known as Kurabayashi, is an excellent rangefinder that really doesn't get talked about by anyone. The only thing you have to really pay attention to is make sure the shutter is working, because the shutters on those do have sort of a weakness. But as I say about many of these old cameras, if you find one that is in good shape and you keep it in good shape, there's no reason to think it won't last for a long time. Is the Nikonos practical photography-wise, even if you never go anywhere near water? There's I'll try to be quick with this answer, but I never am. The short answer is yes. It's a great camera, mostly on the strength of its lenses, which are fantastic. At the same time, what do I want to say? How do I want to say this? It's a scale focus camera, right? Zone focus. So if you're not comfortable manual focusing and you're not comfortable with zone focus, you probably have a hard time with it. You'll probably get a lot of shots that are out of focus. But if you know how to scale focus and you're comfortable shooting at f8, right? And just sort of like the classic f8 and be there, right? So set your lens to f8, set your focus to a midpoint where most everything is going to be in focus, and then just shoot, just worry about framing and composition. Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic camera. I know street photographers that use the Nikonos as their street photography camera. And one of our writers, Dustin, also known as DVL, Dustin Von Luma, he uses his Nikonos, which he got from us got from the camera shop here. He uses his Nikonos as a street photography camera, as a vacation camera. He does a lot of competitive cycling, like mountain biking and sort of downhill stuff, and his kids do competitive or semi-competitive cycling as well. So he uses it in situations like that where he doesn't know if you know, he's going to get coated in mud, or if there's going to be a sudden rainstorm, or you know, he's worried about dust. So yeah, super reliable, like very, very robust cameras. Very hard to damage them or make them stop working. So I guess the short answer is, yeah, they're fantastic cameras generally, but especially if you're going to be in an environment that's a little bit less than soft, I guess. So if you're going anywhere, doing anything that your camera might get bumped or wet or dusty, it's a good choice. It's actually the best choice. There's no other camera that I would rather have on me in sort of an active area, or when I'm doing something, some sort of active, you know, pursuit. But yeah, the if you go to the article that we just posted about the Nikonos, I don't know if you've seen it. We linked to it earlier in the chat, and we could probably link to it again if you like. Just let me know if you want me to link to it. I can. If not, just go to casualphotophile.com, and right on the front page you'll see a Nikonos. Click on that article. There are sample shots in there. Some taken by the founder of the Nikonos project, and those are sort of like in water. And then there are some taken by Dustin, who I was just talking about. And his are the sample shots we used from him are more sort of like your everyday photography. So go check those out, and you'll see the sort of quality of the image that you get from this camera. And then that might help you, you know, sort of decide, I guess. There's this one picture that Dustin took with his Nikonos it's going to be in our Nikonos 5 review, which we'll be publishing probably early next month. But man, there's this one picture, and it is so sharp. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a sharper a sharper film photo. It's unbelievable. He took it with Ektar, Kodak Ektar 100, which is a very sharp film. But you know, that sharpness sort of worked with the resolving power of the Nikkor 35mm f2.5 amphibious lens, and it's just stunning. It's just unbelievable. Nikon released a sort of special edition very recently of limited edition prints, 100 produced of each, and one of them was the Nikonos V, or Nikonos 5, and I saw it and I was like, oh my god, I need to have this print. I bought it. I bought a print, and they're all hand numbered, you know, 1 through 100. And I got it. It arrived in the mail. I was like, yes, awesome, my Nikonos print. I can't wait to hang this in the office. And it is. It's hanging in the office where I do all my writing and the camera shop stuff. I opened it up, took it out of the box, unwrapped it. It was beautiful, looked fantastic. Hung it up, and then I looked at the number, and it was number 1. I got the first one, and I couldn't believe it. It's just the best moment of my life, and I have 2 children, and I'm married, so. I missed so much chat. I'm going to scroll up on the chat a little bit.
Still in my seat just as I'm getting back.
Yeah.
Damn. I'll just take this one, I guess.
And you have your scrolling weird. I don't like it.
It's like a phone. I don't like it on your computer. On yours, you scroll down to go down. I don't get that. You gotta scroll up to scroll down. It's like aviation. You know.
You invert your scrolling.
Yeah. You don't?
No.
I don't know. You scroll up on your phone to go down.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
I just
but
stuck
you're
to
wrong
the
about everything
Apple.
else.
I disagree. I don't think so.
That's the chat. Nerd. Damn.
Am I the nerd? Is that me?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
I think he's just calling everyone nerds.
Everyone's a nerd for scrolling at all.
Good lord.
We should just use the directional arrows.
The aggressive Canadians.
Oh, you can use the arrows in chat.
That's good.
They're giving us options. I like it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Alright. Those are all good. These cameras are clean.
All done?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'm efficient.
You are. I like it.
Look at the cat. It's just...
Dude.
That can't be comfortable.
Kyle.
Oh, no. I must have knocked that over.
I am efficient, and he gets up and knocks over a big jug of alcohol, which is just pouring all over the floor.
Yeah, you see, this is actually...
And the table.
It was still an efficient move, because now...
It's an efficient cleaning method?
Yeah. There's no more bacteria on this table.
Do you know someone wished me luck on the stream? And said that... actually, I think it was 2 different conversations. Anyway, the point is, someone said they hope you get zapped again.
That's not nice. I don't like that.
And then someone else wished me luck on the stream, and I think I said to them, I hope Kyle gets zapped again.
Well, that's also not
nice.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what to think about that. I wish people were wishing me luck on the stream.
Nerd in reference to Nikonos print story?
Oh, okay, so it was you. You're the nerd, not me for scrolling. Sorry.
Come on. It's very cool. It's a very cool print. I'll post it on Instagram. I posted it on Instagram when I got it a long time ago, but I'll do it again. And I'll make a reference to being a nerd. So this is the 35 2.5 that I was just talking about. Here, I'll show you guys something that you may not have seen before. This is another thing you're going to call me a nerd about. I'm sure. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Okay. So the aperture control is here, and you can see that clearly because this line comes off the knob and it goes up to where the aperture numbers are. And then this is focus. And it does the same thing, but in the opposite direction. It points to the point of focus, right? So when we move this, the lens focuses to that distance that's marked there. But let's see if I can get this to focus real close. Probably not, because life is agony.
I don't know about that. This webcam might be, though.
Yeah. So either way, so you can see that it's the scale for the scale focus is moving, right? So that's cool. It's kind of neat. I just like that. But what's really neat is when you, as we all know, when you close down your aperture, the depth of field increases, right? So when you close down the aperture, this little arrow moves, which is awesome, because I'm a nerd. But at the same time, what's very cool is that over here on the focus display, the depth of field is indicated by ever expanding and contracting pointers. So we'll see this as we close down this aperture.
Sucks that it's not focusing super well. You can make it out, but it's not. Yeah. It's not great. I think my favorite little feature about the lens on those Nikonos is that you can just turn it upside down. Like everything's kind of inverted, so if you're underwater,
there's no real bayonet mount.
You just have to flip it over to look at all of these things that you're pointing out.
So I think that's very cool, but again, that's because I'm a nerd, as you guys pointed out. It's just this awesome, like very intuitive, and it's just an ingenious way of displaying this, right? It's like as you close down your aperture, depth of field increases. It's also a really good visual way of showing that to people. So like if you're trying to explain depth of field to someone, this is a very...
That's actually how I learned, I think.
Did I show you on this?
I just like picked one up one day while it was in your in the office over there and kind of started looking at it. We had gone over it like the week before, and that helped me get a better understanding. I remember that specifically.
So it's just very cool to show, like, okay, so at f8, everything from 5 meters to 1.5 meters is going to be in focus, right? And then if you open it up, depth of field decreases, and you can see that only everything at you guys know how it works. So anyway, I hope some of you have never seen that before, and that was something new that we showed you.
Exposure therapy seems to like it.
Good. So now we're gonna quickly.
Are there any other cameras, by the way?
No, we're gonna finish this, and then I think we'll wrap up. So we're just gonna grease these O-rings and put this Nikonos back together, and then we're probably gonna get out of here.
Knobs on things are great. Yeah, it's a very general statement.
I guess I agree.
I might. I need more context than that.
Yeah. So this grease, you just put a small amount on the O-ring. And like I said, this just sort of facilitates a more complete seal. This grease itself is also water resistant. So yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, you can see, so through the viewfinder you can see the aperture change on certain SLRs, which is awesome because then you don't have to bring the camera away from your eye to make adjustments, which is pretty critical in a lot of situations. Okay. O-ring is greased. What was that?
I don't know, some kind of notification.
So the O-ring is greased. We just fit it back around the body, and I like to give it another quick wipe down just to make sure that there's no grease anywhere else, because you don't want that getting specifically on your film. And it's the same thing with the O-ring around this lens. We're just going to put a couple little drops and then spread it around. I definitely didn't expect to do a Nikonos maintenance video, but it works. When I upload this to YouTube, I'll have to make sure to put that in the description.
I like this mat you're working on. Is that new?
It was here last time, I think.
Yeah, I think I noticed it. Didn't mention it though. Is that just to like keep screws and everything kind of
in
place?
Yeah, it's silicone, so it's like kind of
sticky, but
sticky.
Doesn't anything on anything. That's good.
Heat resistant too, so if we're soldering and stuff, it won't melt. Constant improvements here.
That's innovation. I like it.
Every day, right? You just got to try to improve every day. Okay, so here's the thing too, I will say, in case anyone gets their hands on a Nikonos 3 or a 2 or a 1. This is a mistake I've seen people make, and it can damage the camera. You can't remove the body of the camera without removing the lens. The lens locks the body into the outer housing. So once that O-ring is greased, it should slide right in there really nicely, which it just did. And then you put the lens on. And like Kyle was sort of referencing earlier, a lot of people will have this lens mounted in such a way that when they're looking at the camera, it looks right side up. So like the text is all aligned. But the way that you're supposed to have it is actually the other way. so that it's upside down, and that's so that when you're underwater and shooting, if you ever go underwater, you're shooting it like this, right? You can just sort of look at it like this, make your adjustments, and see exactly what's going on. So I don't know if that is an easy way to explain it. So if you're shooting this camera, like this is what it's going to look like too. You want to just be able to flip it over.
I love the design of that too. It's so clear what knobs are going to what. Just the little arrow getting drawn in.
Oh yeah, it's
curved around the lens. I don't know. That's such a creative little.
It's a very
design.
It's one of these cameras that's like deceptively simple. It's like a super complicated machine, but it's designed in a way that makes it seem very simple.
Yeah,
which is a great indicator of good design. So.
And you said was this the purely mechanical?
Yeah, this is totally mechanical.
That's
no light meter, no auto exposure. The later Nikonos cameras, the one after this, the 4A, had auto exposure and a light meter, but no manual shooting, no manual shutter speeds. So it would just determine.
It would do it all for you.
Yeah, it would determine the exposure based on your aperture and the available light.
That's interesting. It wouldn't even give you the options.
Yeah, and people didn't like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So when they came out with the V, they
reverted back or gave you both.
They gave both. It had auto exposure, a metering system, obviously, and manual shutter speed.
It's strange that they would ever take that out. I feel like you would know what would upset your fans.
Yeah. Well, it was the future, right? It was like all the all the cameras that were coming out in the 1980s were automation, like let's automate everything.
Right.
But anyway, let me just read real quick to see if there's anything I need to comment on here. All right, guys, so I think that's it for us today. We've cleaned up all the stuff that's going to get listed on f-stock cameras over the next day or two. So I think we're gonna get to work doing that. Have some lunch.
Definitely need that.
List some cameras. Maybe like Circus Peanuts will be in our future. We'll find out.
Maybe if I ever,
Yeah.
give up that $35.
Yeah.
If I ever make that push.
Sour Patch Kids, maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely. I mean, Vicuna has done some good underwater photography with these Nikonos cameras. So he posted a comment on the article that we wrote about the sort of retrospective on the Nikonos from the Calypso, which was the very first French-made camera that turned into the Nikonos, all the way to the Nikonos V. So if you go to that article again, you'll see in the comments that there's a link to some really excellent underwater photography. So check that out. There was a few in particular that sort of blew my mind. There's some of divers in like full scuba regalia with these bubbles coming out in this very artistic way. So as always, as I said before, he does good work. So anyway, someday I will swim with a Nikonos.
Gotta save that trip for somewhere nice.
Yeah.
Not around here, as we've discussed.
Yeah.
Too much tea and benches and horseshoe crabs.
Tea specifically. Everything's brown. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on the stream. I appreciate it. Hope you got something out of this, and we'll be back maybe this weekend. We say this every week, but we'll be back maybe this weekend with a stream. But if not, definitely next Thursday. And I think we'll be back to repairing some cameras then. And I'm pretty sure we have some giveaways happening as well on the next stream. So yeah, the lovely sharks. Those are scary. But yeah, I saw those too. Very cool. We should do an article on our favorite camera gimmicks and unique features. That's a good idea.
I like the Nishika.
It's a good idea. You like the?
I
Oh yeah,
haven't,
you
I
used
haven't
that.
seen
I
it
forgot.
yet.
I forgot you used that.
I haven't got those developed yet, but the whole
Yeah.
Wiggle Ram 3D thing is interesting.
Thanks for the suggestion. I'll put that in. I'll put that. We have a document that we use, all the writers, and we have sort of article ideas that we wanna touch on. So I'll put that in there. Thanks for the suggestion. I think I know what my mine would be, but anyway. All right, guys. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. Hope you keep enjoying the website and comment on our articles and tell us what you want us to do and write about and all that, so we can keep improving the product for you guys. So thank you again, and we'll see you later.
See you.